My name is Anna Almeyda-Cohen, professor of Spanish and Latin American cinema at Colby College. And I, along with my colleague, Professor Tiffany Cregan Miller, will be holding a conversation with Guatemalan screenwriter director Jairo Bustamante on Wednesday, November 11th at 7:30 p.m. in collaboration with the Maine Film Center and the Railroad Square Cinema to discuss his 2020 film La Llorona, The Weeping Woman. As you prepare to watch La Llorona, we recommend that you watch our 2 mini lectures before seeing the film, since these videos will provide you with some information on the film's social, historical, and cultural context as guiding notes before you watch the film yourself. In this short video in particular, I'll be briefly discussing Mr. Bustamante's filmography, the many adaptations of the long-standing Latin American myth, La Llorona, and I'll be pointing you to moments to look for in the film that highlight Bustamante's cinematic style in depicting the many elements of the legend of the Weeping Woman. La Llorona is Bustamante's third film. His debut and first film was the 2015 Ichcanul, and his second film was the 2019 Temblores or Tremors. In both Ichcanul and Temblores, Bustamante takes as his point of departure natural and climate disasters. In the case of Ichcanul, a volcano is the film's title, coming from the Mayan Quichaquel name for volcano, and in Temblores or Tremors, the film's title alludes to the effects caused by an earthquake. In La Llorona, the filmmaker adapts the long-standing Latin American myth of the Weeping Woman to tell the story of the 1980s genocide in Guatemala, which saw the massacre of thousands of indigenous Mayan people at the hands of the dictator general Efraín Ríos Montt. The legend and figure of La Llorona, the weeping or wailing woman, has been adapted and readapted in Latin American and US film for over 50 years. The legend has generally been configured as a story of an indigenous native woman from Mexico's colonial period who was abandoned by a Spanish soldier, her lover, with whom she has children, and he leaves her for a woman of his own background. In either grief or rage, the native indigenous woman kills her children by drowning them, kills herself, and is condemned by God to wander and suffer for all of eternity. Her spirit, which is said to have been separated from her children, lurks among the living, abducting other children in search of her own. In 1933, Mexican film director Ramón Peón first depicted the legend of La Llorona as a thriller for Spanish-speaking audiences in an early black and white film. Since then, the legend has been adapted over 20 times in Latin American and US productions and across horror genres such as horror wrestler films, horror animation, and horror fantasy. The films have also varied significantly in their levels of production, from low-budget independent films to high-budget award-winning box office hits. In these various adaptations, the cinematic image of the legend of La Llorona has been depicted as a vengeful former lover, a double amputee, and a victim of a horrible car accident. And most recently, in Bustamante's La Llorona, the legend appears as the return of the repressed in a powerful post-colonial supernatural fable. The film's use of magical realism, a style of fiction and a literary genre that paints a realistic view of the modern world while also adding elements of magic, blurs the division between the natural and the supernatural worlds for the characters in the film and the spectators alike. In many adaptations of the legend of La Llorona, the four key elements of the legend are a suffering woman or mother, lost or stolen children, crying or weeping, and water or tears. These four elements, what mother, woman, children, crying, weeping, and water or tears, often serve as motifs throughout the films that weave in and out of the story and plot. In the case of Bustamante's La Llorona, the filmmaker's interpretation of the legend through these key elements narrate Guatemala's troubled military past within a contemporary context. As you watch the film, pay close attention to moments when you hear weeping and crying. When do they occur in the film? What effect does it produce on the characters and in you, the spectator? Also, Pay close attention to the presence of water and the power of water as well as tears. When do you see water? How does it emerge in the film? What characters is it associated to? How does the camera capture water? And how does it affect you, the spectator? The appearance and reappearance of children is also a recurring motif in the film. When do the children appear and how do they appear? Whose children are they? And what are they telling us about the story? Finally, the pain felt by a woman or mother is also a key element to the legend of La Llorona. Who is suffering? Who is this mother and who are her children? How does the camera depict mothers? And how do you feel her pain? Finally, as you're watching the film, see if you can identify who is the weeping woman, who is La Llorona, and how does she emerge to tell us a story about suffering, loss, injustice, and guilt. We hope you will join us this upcoming Wednesday, November 11th at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom to talk more about La Llorona with the director of the film himself, Jairo Bustamante. Remember to register for the event through Railroad Square Cinema's website and make sure to include your email to receive any updates and to also provide a question for the session on Wednesday. Enjoy the film and see you Wednesday.